Hey there, this is Rick. I hope everyone's having a great day. Okay, I'm on my way to the allotment and I'm going to go and take a look, see what's what. Now, I've been away on holiday for a few days, so I haven't been here for a little while. There's not a lot to look in on, really. There's still a lot of tidying and stuff to do, which I might have a little play with today. But really, we're just waiting for those few bits in the greenhouse, you know, in the polytunnel. And also I want to check to see whether that chemical is working its stuff, doing its stuff on the blighted potatoes. And so that's going to be interesting. So I'll just get parked up and I'll see you in a minute. Right then, let's have a quick look in the polytunnel. As always, the potatoes are nice and green. Doesn't look like the blight has attacked. There are a few dead leaves, but generally speaking it's all looking pretty green and vibrant, so I think we've got away with it in the polytunnel. And the same goes with the spuds out here. They're not too bad. You can see where the blighted leaves have been attacked and died off, but there's new growth here and it's all looking quite lush, so I'm quite happy with the way this has worked out. Okay, let's have a quick look at the tomatillos again, and some of these little lanterns are turning yellow, but they're very small, so I think that's yellow, turning yellow in dying off sort of sense, not sure, but still nothing even slightly ready yet. All tiny little fruit still, so I'm afraid it's just still a waiting game going on with the tomatillos, although I seem to have attracted a lot of snails. I think I need to find those a new home. Okay, same goes for the sweet potatoes. There's still loads of growth going on. They've actually started growing new tendrils as well. So this is quite a prolifically growing plant. So I think I'm going to have to trim off some of these tendrils again just to stop it putting energy into the growth. I really do want it to put the energy into the tubers. So that's another task I can do today. Now, as for the rest of the plot, there's not a huge amount I can do, really. I've got 2 bags here with strawberries in. The strawberry plants seem to be doing okay, actually. They're actually coming through, and new growth is appearing, so I'm quite pleased about that. These 2 here are my onions. This is the Sensheiyu onions, which apparently I've been told are not the shallots that I thought they were, or shallot equivalents that I thought they were, but I have looked them up and they do grow into quite large onions, so I'm really interested to see how these do. Now at the moment I can actually see lots of new growth, so things are happening here, so this is good. So all I've got to do is just leave these to their own devices. Obviously I'll feed and water when I can and try to stop the cats pooing in them, and yeah, hopefully next year we should be doing really well. Now, one of the things I've been working on this year is this kind of bamboo shack. It wasn't very successful this year, but there again I built it a little bit too late. The idea was that I would put troughs around the bottom of it, and I'd get fast growing plants like runner beans to grow up it and cover it, so you'd end up with this kind of foliage covered building. And it sort of worked, but like I say, I started it too late in the year, so nothing really got the chance to properly grow. But I can address that next year. Firstly, I think I'm not going to use such small pots next year because the runner beans didn't do very well in these tiny little pots. So I may have to rethink that. My neighbour's shed is actually... I keep seeing my neighbour's shed perched up against their sidewall. I think they're looking to get rid of it, but I don't think it's complete, because what I was thinking was I could actually get that shed and bring it here and just have another building here. But I'm not sure. To be honest, I actually think I like the idea of this being open. I don't know. But I'll also get the problem with the grass growing through as well, which is, I'm going to have to keep weed killer on that, or put some sort of a sheeting down, which means pulling this floor up, which shouldn't be too much of an issue. But anyway, I'm going to worry about that next year. And in the meanwhile, I have to pull all of these plants up and get them put on the compost pile. Okay, this is just a quick reminder to anybody watching and to myself. This is what happens when you do not keep weeds in check. They just grow like this. Now, this is the reason I actually went over to grow bags this year, because my whole allotment was like this last year, and it was just so soul destroying watching these weeds grow and not being able to do anything about them. I mean, I had a go at the weeds, but they were coming back and back and back, and as soon as I cleared them, they were coming back again. And trying to maintain this level of weeds on a site this size, this is only like a half plot, I just found it impossible, and I was ready to give up. That's why I've now covered this this particular allotment site over, and I'm growing in bags because it's a much smaller area. But I haven't touched any of the weeds in these two bags for several months, and this is what happens. But luckily, because it's only this area, it should only take me a couple of seconds to whip all these out. There we go, and that is why I grow above the ground. Right, I think it's time to pull up these sunflowers. Now, last year I kept the seeds, and oh, that's interesting. These are being eaten. Oh no, they're not there. They're just falling out. They're still whole. Last year I cut the heads off the sunflowers, kept them in the shed so that I could plant these sunflowers this year. But they got attacked by, I think the mice found them in the shed and ate them all. And I came back after the winter to all of these little sunflowers that were just husks on the floor of the shed. Anyway, these are only like small dwarf sunflowers, so I'm not really, probably not going to be growing any next year. So I think I'm just going to pull them up and put them in the composter. Now, while I was taking these vines off of this bamboo shack, a little idea came to me. I don't know if it's going to be any good or not, but instead of having this whole thing as a bamboo shack next year, I wonder if it might be more beneficial to make this a covered in potting area. I could actually use the bamboo from this structure. It's only held together with cable ties. I could make a more closely knit structure, maybe weave in a bit of polythene over the roof to protect protect me from the rain if I'm out here, and I could perhaps have the roof sort of coming out this far so that the potting area is covered, and where I stand could be covered. That means I can use the wood in this floor as well, because to be honest, this floor, it's not ideal, and to be honest, it's just more like a fence panel put on its side. It's very, very flimsy, and the wood used is just feather edge wood, so it's quite thin. So I think I may utilize it better by taking it apart and building an area that I can do my potting in. I'm not entirely sure, just a bit of food for thought for next year. Well, there's not a lot left to do today. Just one more thing springs to mind, and that's to prepare these two beds ready for planting. And all I need to do is just add a bag of manure to each one. I'm going to do a full bag of manure to each one, dig it in a little bit, and then just kind of let it sit there until next year. So I'm going to do that now, and then I think I'll call it a day. One bag. Just give it a little dig over, nothing to get too excited about. This is very, very dry, loose soil, so it doesn't need a lot of digging, just more of a disturbance than anything else. And just a quick rake over. There we go. That's now these 3 beds ready for planting in the spring. One thing I did forget to mention last week, just before I went home, is because this bed is manured up and has been ready for a little while, I realised I have some all year round lettuce seeds, and I've also taken a liking to beetroot. So apart from the stuff I'm growing out there, I'm sort of experimenting and seeing whether I can grow some beetroot in the polytunnel here during the winter. So basically half this bed is all year round lettuce and the other half is beetroot. Now I have to say, from the start, the lettuce is doing okay. It's actually starting to sprout and look good. Obviously I'm going to need to thin it out because I just broadcast the seeds. On this side I can still see some beetroot seeds on the surface, and although I gave them a really good watering, oh no, I'm lying, there is one there. I was going to say I couldn't see any, but fingers crossed we may actually get some beetroot, but I don't know. It may just be too late in the season, despite being inside the polytunnel. But it's all about experimenting and finding these things out. But it would be nice if I could end up with some winter beetroot. That would be cool. So that's it from the allotment for one more week. Like I say, there's not a huge amount going on, to be honest, but there's always little bits and pieces to be done, so I can always pop back anytime, ideally when the weather's being quite pleasant like it is today. Although it's overcast, it's quite warm. So yeah, hopefully I can carry on coming back making more allotment videos, although they might be a bit shorter or a little bit dull, but hopefully there'll be something worth filming. So anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you next time. Take care.